Good evening, one and all, and welcome back to another edition of FTB's Cop Talk, the number one podcast and only place to be on a Thursday night at 10 o'clock. Good evening, Mr. Stoney. How are we doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you very much, Artie. Thank you. Good evening as well.
Good evening, Wardy. How are we doing?
Very, very well. Thank you.
I don't know. See, the rest of them couldn't see that, but we saw you in the background there, giving it all tarting himself up. You know what I mean? Yeah. I saw that, son. I saw that.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening, gents. Good evening.
How are we doing? How are we feeling out there?
I'm okay, thanks. I'm just.
Are we still celebrating from Tuesday, gents?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I'm celebrating from Tuesday. I'm celebrating from yesterday.
Yeah,
we're still celebrating.
I'm telling you. I must say, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a great 2 days of football. I must say, even for neutrals who love the game. They've definitely been entertained. I must say, definitely been entertained. It's been, and this is why we love the beautiful game, man. It's played like that because, as far as I'm concerned, Real Madrid, they were dead and buried, man.
Yeah,
I was so upset because we'd spoken about it before. We'd all said who we wanted in the final.
Yeah,
Real Madrid.
I did call that result the other night as well.
Yeah,
fancied Madrid.
Yeah, Con said it as well. Con did say it.
Yeah.
I won't forget that he did say he feels they're going to be too strong for him. But I'll tell you, on the first half showing, and I think up to about even 70 minutes, 80 minutes, I'd even say.
Was it 86 minutes or something? Not shot on target.
City was controlling the game.
Yeah.
With not a worry in the world.
Yeah. We
are going to say a quick good evening to a couple of our few early people. So let's just say get them a good evening to them. So good evening, Amonde. He's off the Man United agenda. Has to come on our channel to talk about trophies, you know. They don't talk much about them on their channel. Anyway, he says, I'm going to say no to the quad. You ain't got no choice. You're not in it, so you can say what you want. I feel City will just do enough, especially after the haunting defeat last night. They will show character to win their remaining games, yet Liverpool are supreme. Good evening, Mr. Solo. He's going to say big up, gentlemen. And good evening, Reese. We haven't seen Reese for a while. He's normally a die-hard fan of the podcast. Nice to have you back, Reese. Just going to say, right, going back to Monday's comment, gents, I'm going to throw this out there to you after what you just put there. Now, for me, this could go one of two ways. Either City are like fuming now, and I'm going to go out there full 100 because that's all we've got left to go for, or is there going to be that hangover, and are they going to struggle? Tell me, gents. Not all at once, by the way, yeah. Not all at once.
No, I think the post-match interviews with Pep, I think he was quite measured in how he was responding to a lot of the journalists and people that were interviewing him. I think they were looking for him to spike and get a headline. So I think he was quite measured in terms of saying, well, look, we're going to need 1 or 2 days to reflect, and then we'll focus on the game in hand over the weekend. So I reckon he's probably going to give the players a couple of days off, probably give himself a day off, and we'll see how they respond over the weekend. I'll see how they respond over the weekend. I mean, they took De Bruyne off, didn't they? That didn't appear to be due to an injury, but as I said, we're never ever going to know. But yeah, I just hope that they'll flatline it for the next 2 games. We do what we need to do, and then we win it. But look, I've said it before. This squad's massive. So as much as there would have been a lot of players from there that would have been mentally drained and probably physically drained from that Real Madrid game, they're going to have players that weren't actually involved in that, and those are the ones that are probably going to feature over the weekend.
Definitely. Wardy, what do you reckon? Which way do you reckon it's going to go for them?
I don't think they're flatline, but I think it will have some effect on them because it was just so. I mean, you saw Pep, the pictures of him on the bench just sitting there, and he just didn't know what had happened. You know,
he was shell-shocked.
He couldn't believe it. He physically, him and his assistant sitting there just thinking, what has happened here? Because they were 4 minutes plus stoppages from going through, you know, and it's the Bernabeu effect. We spoke about it the other night. Real do it. They've got that thing at home. They did it against PSG. They've just got that little je ne sais quoi that they need just to get over the line. And I don't think they're flatline, but I think it will have a mental effect on them, of course. But they're still in the driving seat. in terms of the league. That's the thing. It is up to them to lose it. So I still think Liverpool are up for all four. I still think it's going to happen. I just think they've got that. Even after the first half the other night, the second half was just world class football. I think we're still going to do it, but Man City, they'll be all right. But they might have a little stumble after the Bernabeu beating the other evening.
Con, which way do you reckon that's going to go now? How do you think that's going to affect them?
Well, I think Pep is like a tinker man to play Jesus up in the centre mid. Now, up the front, I mean, in the centre, he keeps doing that. De Bruyne, if you look at the stats of De Bruyne every time it's a big game, he doesn't really shine, Pep sort of like tinkers now and again when he doesn't. I don't know why he does it, but he does do that quite a bit. I mean, that the manner how they lost that game, that will have some effect on some of the players, definitely. It's I don't. To be honest, I don't know all of Man City's. And all right, and Walker might be playing this weekend. Are we looking for this week? It's a hard one to call. It's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Walker's got an injury, so he might be out for a little spell. I don't think De Bruyne was injured. I think he was just taking him off.
No, I was just saying there, but De Bruyne, he had. If you look at him from the World Cup, Euros, and everything, and these big games where he's like the semi-finals, finals, his pass rate drops, everything drops. It's like it's a different player.
Oh, what? I don't mind that.
Against better players, there isn't he? That's the thing. The level of opponent is as high as it gets.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, that fluctuates every Saturday, Tuesday. You're playing against the bottom three side, mid-table side, top four side. The levels are completely different in the Champions League, and you look at players like Modric. The boy's drawing his pension soon, and he's still running games. It's ridiculous. Unbelievable talent,
and effortlessly as well.
Even with Man City, like one goal down, the look on the bench and the players' face, it just looked like we ran out of ideas. You would have thought they were losing. They were one goal down at one stage. And everyone's face was like they were just like so shocked, nervous, and then time they blinked again, they were just
right down.
So even Pep looked like he ran out of ideas. It just looked everything was just like.
I think that was that point in time where he probably looked to his assistants and said, maybe we should have bought centre forward last year.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Just to change it up a little bit, just to make things a little bit different. It's the Origi effect, isn't it? When Klopp needs to make that alteration and go direct or mix it up a little bit, play a bit ugly to get something out of it. He's got that option.
Yeah.
Pep doesn't. Pep hasn't got that.
Yeah, see.
Very true. All he's got is false nines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. Good evening, Mr. Solo. And he says, just please know you cannot win any more trophies. I know it's really gonna burn you, boys. I know it's gonna burn you. Good evening, Mr. Foster. How you doing, sir? Nice to have you on board. And he says, I love to see us be the club in history to win all 4 trophies. Now that is a massive, massive ask. Now I'd be feeling a lot better if it was all in our hands, but it's not. And it is going to be a massive, massive ask. So before we go on to any further, that we need to do is take one game at a time, gentlemen, as they say. And that next game is the old Tottenham Hotspurs.
Yeah.
So the only thing I must say about that is ahead of the game, Spurs boss Antonio Conte has confirmed that left back Sergio Reguilon will not be available to face Liverpool. Left back has been suffering with a groin injury and missed Tottenham's win over Brighton on Sunday, so he's not available. And they're looking at using Ryan Sessegnon again to fill in as a left back. Is that a plus or a minus, Ross?
I don't trust them Italians. I don't trust nothing. What they say. On the day, he could.
Hence the name on his pod, yeah?
Yeah, don't be surprised. I just wouldn't trust anything they say.
Okay. But is it a plus or a minus for us, gentlemen?
But do you know, I think it works either way. Session, I know he had his little teething problems and had his injuries and he went out on loan and came back. I still don't see Sessignon being a left back. I know he played at various positions when he was at Fulham, but I always saw him more as being more as an offensive player, as in more of like a left forward than a left back. I mean, look, as Con was saying, is Conte, that club's going to be drilled. They're going to be drilled. Anything he's saying at the moment is just going to be a smoke screen. For them, they're probably going to be galvanized that they managed to get a draw against City in February, and he's probably going to be looking for his players, to probably set up and play in the same manner to try and get a result against us. But I think out of our remaining league fixtures, this is probably going to be the trickiest one I think we're going to have against Spurs.
Wardy?
Yeah, Sessignon, he's not a left back for me. Ryan Sessignon, no way. He is like Stoney just said. He's too offensive in his own mind. I think the way he played at Fulham, he was good. You know, going forward, he is a strong player moving forwards. But defensively,
he was looking at him before he went to Spurs. Liverpool was looking at him to buy him.
Oh yeah. To be honest with you, you know, he's that type of mould of player that could play high on the left for us.
Yeah,
you know, he's that type of mould. But you know, he's sort of stop start at Spurs. He's been in and out, went on loan. He's not really had a proper lengthy run or played a full season. To be honest, the other left back who's not going to be fit probably thinks, stuff that for a game of soldiers. I'll have a walk up. You know, the way that the front three play at Liverpool, you know, it's going to give them nightmares. You know, I just think even the right back at Spurs, you know, the lad that got in from, was it Barcelona, I think?
Real.
Yeah, Real. There you go. I can't remember his name now off the top of my head, but I just think defensively, especially out wide, they're going to be tested. They're going to be tested, but it's a game that always has goals. I think it's the second highest fixture in Premier League history. I think I read earlier. 170 goals in like 59 games or something. So there will be goals, but I can't see Spurs outscoring us. Please, that's not a kiss of death, please. But I just can't at Anfield as well. Like, we're unbeaten in 21 at home. But everything goes towards a Liverpool home win. So I'm hoping that continues.
Yeah, definitely. Also, a bit of good news for us is that it appears that Liverpool have been handed a welcome fitness boost with the return of Bobby Firmino. So he's taken full part in training sessions alongside his teammates. He's been out with a foot injury for the past few weeks, but he is back in contention. So that's another one, another player to have back to give Klopp another headache of who to pick. But it's another option.
Yeah,
I'd throw him in.
I'd
throw him in. I'd play him.
No problems with throwing him in.
Yeah, I'd play him in because he's not the other three. He's not Diaz, Salah, or Mane, but he is someone who is awkward. He's a pain in the backside. He'll give Dyer and whoever plays alongside Dyer a problem. You know, he's decent in the air, can hold the ball up. We get it. So it's a different type of challenge for the opposition that we've got.
He knits play together so well, man.
He does. He's clever.
Very, very, very clever. Very clever. I think quite a few assists of him.
He's much better than I think people do give him actual credit for. The others tend to get all the limelight and the fame, but
do you think that's because he's judged as a striker, so they're judging him on goals?
Possibly. Yeah.
That's probably what it is. They're not looking at the rest of his game.
Figures rather than actually what he does and the ingredients that he brings into the end product. You'll see him on the halfway line linking up and bringing people into play from there. You know, so he's I love him. I think he's a great player. Great player.
Okay, great. So with the thoughts of Kushileshev, Kane, and Son, what should our defense be to combat them? Because they're very decent, very, very decent.
Well, the only decent one out of them, Harry Kane likes to drop so deep. I think we've got nothing to worry about at all.
Nothing to worry about at all, yeah?
Nah, not them three. Yeah, Anfield, them three. Nah, I'm confident. Very confident.
Okay. I'm confident that we're going to get a result. I'm the only reservations that I probably have, which might conflict marginally to what Con was saying, was I remember when we played against Villa, they played 4-3-2-1, and they had two of their midfielders springing behind Ollie Watkins and running from deep. My only concern is if Conte plays the same system where obviously Kane will be the target man, but he drops off. My concern is if he drops off and he wins the headers, and then you actually get Son and Kulusevski running in between our centre backs and our fullbacks. That's my only concern. I mean, if we play line. No, I was just about to say if we play a high up the pitch, then we're fine. But Son, he's the only one, and I'll be honest. He's the only one that I will be honest and say he's the only one I'm actually fearing at the moment. And he's on 19 goals at the moment. And I think in any position Son is in front of goal, I'm confident that he's going to strike.
Yeah.
So he's for me, he will be Tottenham's danger man come the weekend. 19 goals, and I think he's just a very good player.
Okay, Woody, what do you reckon?
I agree with Stanley there. I think Son's the one. You know, he tends to be the one that plays the furthest forward. You know, and he's got that little bit of a change of gear to get in behind. We do play a very high line. It is playing like literally borderline stupid, really, in terms of how hard we do play. It's very risky. You know, you've only got to get like we said, a Son or another lad with pace. You know, looking to play on the last shoulder and time their run right once or twice, and they're through.
Yeah.
You know, Son's on fire. Look at his goals last weekend. You know, from different ranges, different angles. He's not afraid to pull the trigger. I think Alisson will have a few things to do at the weekend. But if Kane does drop off, do you know what? He might be a bit awkward in terms of dropping deeper and winning headers, etc. But I'd fancy the boys in front of the back four to deal with him quite well. I don't think Van Dijk will necessarily follow him in there because of Son and the pace and that danger. But I think the defensive midfielders, I think they'll probably be able to look after Kane there.
Okay, right. So we got a good point here, Mr. Foster. He says, I think Matip will have Son in his pocket. It's Trent he's worried about playing so high up the pitch and not going back quick enough.
He did get caught. He got caught the other night quite a few times.
He gets caught most nights. Most days.
Yeah,
he does. But you know what? I have to throw this in there. I'm sorry, lads. I have to put something in the pan. I think sometimes we're probably looking at the level that Trent has been playing over the last few seasons. It's so high. I think sometimes people are always looking at the fault, and that's part of his development. It's part of the coaching. It's part of Klopp's development and how we want to play. My main thing I would say in terms of that, whether Trent is deemed to be playing high, we're not conceding many goals. You know, offensively he's fine. Defensively he's fine. He's still learning, and at the end of the day, we're still getting the results that we actually want. So I'm not even concerned with that. I want Trent to be up there. I want him to cause havoc. And credit to him. And he said, if anything, people can look at the amount of assists that he's got this season as well. That's amazing. So I've got no concerns with that, not one bit.
You're not worried about that, Con?
No, not really, because our holding man, the Brazilian, normally Trent pulls in, goes forward, and he covers, and he does a great job. I mean, he is more vital to Liverpool in that midfield more than Thiago, because when Robinson and Trent go forward, he does the covering up. He will cover for them and fill in for them. So I'm not. That doesn't really concern me. Maybe Klopp could throw a spanner in the work. Spurs think that they're Liverpool going to play the high line. What about just not play the high line?
Yeah.
For a one-off game, not play the high line.
I can't see it though.
If it's not broke, it's not broke, don't fix it. Do you know what I mean?
Imagine if Klopp did that and we didn't get a result. We'd be going bonkers.
It'll be a madness.
Yeah,
just going to say to peoples, let's like, share, and hit the subscribe button, peoples. Don't forget that. Okay. Go on, Woody, sorry.
Do you think that I've got a funny feeling where the Trent issue and his recovery runs because he's playing so high? I've got a feeling Son's going to play out on their left.
Yeah.
So Son will literally be hanging in those pockets and those areas where Trent leaves because he's too far ahead of the game on occasion. But I think Honest Con's right. I think the defensive boys will mop up. But I can see Son just playing on that left-hand side for them, just trying to utilise that time where Trent is making the play for us.
If I was Conte, I would. That's exactly what I would do. I would play Son there, 100%.
Yeah,
I would guaranteed. We know. I was watching in the Villarreal game at one point, and Trent was he was left wing on the edge of their box. I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
But you know what?
Just do what you want, Trent. Go on, Trent. Have a run around. Whatever you fancy.
Just play wherever, man.
But you know as well, the other side of that may be the instruction that he's been given by Klopp as well. You know, for him to be so high up and offensive, possibly.
Mr. Amondi says he agrees with Con Fab's importance in midfield, although Klopp will not allow a team to force him to drop deep. Very true. Very true. And not at home as well. I don't think so. Not at home.
My only thing is, I don't think Matic starts for me.
You think he's going to start Konate, yeah?
I think start him because he's aggressive. I don't think Song likes a player like him.
No.
And Harry Kane don't like players like him. I think start him. I think start Konate instead of
he's got a bit more pace than Matic as well.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, and when he's running at you, I just think start him. I just think Song. He was shook Song. He was shook him, man.
Beat him out, wasn't he?
That guy don't even know
none of it.
He stops.
Just rough him up Northwest London style.
I'm going to ask you, Stoney, because we spoke about this the other night. What would your starting lineup be? We already spoke about this.
Against Spurs?
Yeah.
Oh my God, so I can't remember what I said.
We've had a game. You can't say you're going to go last this time either. Right. But you are.
All right. No, it's fine. I think I would probably go and agree with what Con was really saying in terms of the central pairing. Matip and Ibrahim. I definitely play Ibrahim there. More so Matip's had a wonderful season as well, and the fact that he's been able to play so much games back to back without being injured, which was probably the concern that he was having in previous seasons, is obviously a credit to him and our physios and the way that he's obviously looked after his body. But yeah, I'd play Van Dijk, Ibrahim, Fabinho. I would actually play Keita and Thiago in the middle of the park as well. I've got a lot of concerns with Henderson that we can probably speak about in another show, but I can't see Henderson actually starting. And I think he's going to play Diaz on the left, Salah on the right, and Mane in the middle. That's who I believe is going to play. But yeah, definitely Thiago and definitely Keita are starting this game.
Okay. So there's a few on that point. We're going to just talk about Keita quickly because there's been a few about comments about his last performance, basically. Okay. So would you start him, Woody, or would you start Henderson?
I disagree with Stoney because he's got such a good beard, but I wouldn't. No,
wait, what's about mine?
It's just a bit too wily for me.
Shots.
No pun intended. No pun intended.
That's a good one. All right.
I wouldn't mind just to go completely grey. I'm sick of the spots that I've got around it. I just want it to go grey. I wouldn't play Naby Keita. No, I wouldn't. We spoke about this the other night. I think and I'll reiterate what I said the other night. I just think that he is in front of the back four, and just to shield, block, break things up, give it to the stronger ability players within the side for them to then create whatever they're going to create. But I just think sometimes, I said this the other night again, that he tries to do too many things that he's not as strong as within his game. I don't know. There is something up with Henderson. Definitely, he's been left out far too many times recently. There's something not quite right there. Whether he's struggling, whether Klopp's maybe not too sure about him at the minute, I don't know what it is. But I'd definitely Fabinho and Thiago are certs that they'll play. I'll pick them every week. I just hope Thiago has a better first half than he did the other night because he was.
Well, he can't have a worse one. I'll tell you that much.
That's true. If he's on his game, yeah, I think we probably win quite easily. But I would probably stick in Henderson for this game.
Okay. Right. On Monday saying, I believe Conte will play wing backs and a back five, trying to force your fullbacks to back up. This is a dangerous game. They had all week for Conte to draw them, and they will work very hard.
And Monday hates it, doesn't he? He hates us doing well.
Mark makes a good point, and I do like this, and I do agree with this. He says 2 seasons ago, the front three, Mane, Bobby, and Salah, used to swap around a lot, and that seems to have stopped. I like to see more of that come back, and that's a very, very good point because that used to defenders used to be didn't know who was going to be there, pop up where, and this is where Bobby used to be smart with the little flicks, and he'd slip it through for one of them two to go on and score. Very, very true. I would definitely like to see that interchanging come back a bit more. Mark saying his midfield three would be Fabinho, Thiago, and Henderson. Good evening, Jordan. Nice to have you on board, sir. That's right, you will never walk alone. Not when you're a Liverpool fan, mate. Oh, here's your sibling, mate, Mr. B. Man United agenda. Another one who wants to talk about trophies. How are we doing, sir? Yeah? Any time you want to talk about trophies, man, just tune in on a Thursday night. 10 o'clock Thursday night. You know where we're at. That's right. Those likes, please. And good evening, 007. He's saying a good show. Nice to have you on board, 007.
Can I say something? I'm sure I saw something today. I don't know if it's 100% true, but they said in the second half, Liverpool's midfield, who completed the most passes in the second half, was Keita and the most tackles.
Yeah, that's right. They did. You're right. There was a stat put out about that because it was like we said, people were knocking him, and they put out a stat that in the second half he was our best midfielder, stats wise.
I think he's having a nice period, a rich vein of form at the moment. But as you said, Klopp will obviously make the right decision. But I just think his last few games he's played for us, his performances, I can probably see him getting a start. But as I said, we'll see on Saturday.
Okay, so who's gonna be our danger man? Apart from Diaz, lads. I think was gonna say that. Apart from Diaz, gentlemen, yeah.
That's it, done, isn't it? We finished, haven't we? That's it.
I'm worried about Salah. I said this the other day. I mean, with this golden boot thing, is he going to start this nonsense of not passing to a teammate because he wants to get this golden boot? It does concern me, and I don't think he's played very well, Mo Salah.
But do you know what, Con? I think and it's interesting that you're saying it as well. I think that may well actually work in our favour as well, because maybe opposition teams are probably thinking that Salah's rhythm, the standards that he's set for himself, the goals and assists, he's probably not functioning at the level they expect him to, and he's just going to do a Houdini on them. And that for me, I love, is this our little trump card there. I can hopefully, I believe that he's going to retain that purpose of saying it's definitely going to be a team effort. He's got the opportunity to go down in history. The goals may not come, as you said, on Saturday, but we got so many games, afterwards where he's probably got an opportunity to obviously get those goals that he probably wants as well. So, I've got no concern with him being too greedy. But our danger men, our whole team, Tottenham are in trouble.
It's like these siblings think alike.
Oh, look at that.
He said your whole Ross team is dangerous.
Never a truer word said there, right?
Yeah. Very much so. And I think that's what's carrying us through so far and making us so consistent. Beforehand, you had one or two players who you needed to drag you through games.
Yeah.
Now it's a team effort, and the whole team's working, and that's what makes us so hard to beat.
And even in the new position that Mane is actually playing for us centrally as well, he's come to life there, and it's created a completely different dimension in that central position to how we were actually playing before.
Yeah.
So once again, it just gives us so much options, and it's good.
That.
It's also good for him as well.
Of course it is, because people were talking about now we got Diaz, and they've seen Diaz. Oh, Mane's gonna have to go. Well, Klopp showed them a bit something different, mate. I tell you. So, Mark saying, I hope Thiago gets on the score sheet. He's been trying for the last 2 to 3 games now, and the work rate. He definitely upped his game since back from his hip replacement. Oh, definitely. That strike that he had the other night, though.
I think that's the part of his game he probably wants to improve on. To be fair, as well, his goal ratio.
Yeah,
you know, he's not frightened to put a tackle in. He sprays the ball around ridiculously well. I think it's just his goal ratio. He would probably, as a pro, want to improve on.
100%. Mane and Benzema only choice for the Ballon d'Or. Okay,
so a lot of people are talking about that.
They are actually. Control the midfield, cut off the Son supply to nullify him. It's not even that with Spurs, basically. Remember, like we've said just before earlier on, 007, Spurs will go long and look for Harry Kane to get the flick on. So it's not even playing through the midfield that we need to worry about.
It's not even the midfield that really creates Son's opportunities. If you look through historically this year, the goals that Son gets, a lot of them when he's running through or put
Harry
through,
Kane.
it's Kane that sets him up.
Harry Kane,
exactly. Yeah.
You know,
and
so
that's what I was. Sorry, go ahead, Lee. Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that the Spurs midfield, you haven't necessarily got what I might be wrong, and you might put me wrong now, but an actual sort of playmaker that sets Son up. It's Harry Kane all the time.
Yeah.
Or Son will work and then create his own opportunity like he did last weekend.
007 is saying our high line is played for a reason. We had 123 offside decisions go for us. The next best team is in their 70s.
Good stats.
Yeah, it's good stats, but it's still risky.
It is,
It is still risky.
Yeah.
That's the one. Remember, if you get that one that doesn't go for you in the 89th minute,
that's it.
Trouble.
It's one, just the one. Yeah,
just the one. That's all it takes. It's just the one. It's curtains. He also says we won't see another 45 minutes like we did on Tuesday.
No.
Bloody hope not.
That's the worry about the Real Madrid game as well, really, with Vinicius on the left-hand side. How high we're going to play. Obviously, it's another chat for another day, but he's got that ability, like you're still talking about with Son. He's just pure pace, rapid pace, getting behind, playing the last man, and really, really make use of that. But that's another game, another day.
So since we're talking about our old mate Thiago, so the Reds will pick up an historic 7th European Cup should they manage to defeat Real Madrid in Paris. But if they do, one player in particular will be able to create his own piece of history, and that's Mr. Midfielder Thiago Alcantara. The most decorated players in European football have won countless titles with both Barcelona and Bayern Munich. A Champions League victory in the French capital will elevate him to ultra-exclusive club. Who does he join that club with, gents?
In terms of Champions League medals?
Yeah.
Clarence Seedorf has to be in there.
Yeah, he must have.
Yeah.
Well done. And what clubs did he win it with?
Milan.
That's one.
Ajax.
Ajax.
Was it
Inter?
No.
No, he went to Inter. Where was he at?
Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Yep. You'll join that club.
Can you prep us next time when we're going to have a quiz?
Oh hell no!
It's really late.
Oh hell no! That's the beauty of it.
I'll have a double espresso next time if I know.
Let's see. 007 is Trent Alexander is getting caught. He's been asked to stay further upfield in some games, which is okay when Hendo is on form, not when he isn't. It leaves Trent exposed. Well, I think we've covered that when we was talking about Fabinho sitting in for him, really covering in for him. Hendo will do as well, but I think Fabinho is the main one for me who will do that, get across and get in there as well. Oh, Mark Foster's thrown one in there saying Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Are you talking about the real Ronaldo or Portuguese Ronaldo?
Because
The real Ronaldo didn't win. The real Ronaldo didn't win the Champions League, did he?
No, but how many Champions
No.
Leagues has
But
this Ronaldo got?
he's won it with United.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't at United when they won it. Sorry.
No, it wasn't.
No, he's won it with Real Madrid.
He's
He didn't
won
win
it four
with Juve.
times, hasn't he?
Is it?
You've never won it. That's failed,
No, he
didn't
didn't not with Juve. He won it with Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And who else?
Somebody put it in the chat, please.
Yeah, Mark. Since you said that, Mark, please update us then.
Yeah.
Who else has he won it with apart from Real? That's what I'd like to know. Or anybody else who's in there,
That's
Enlighten us,
actually
please. Let us know.
That's actually a very good thing, actually.
Mm.
I don't know.
I think Seedorf has won it the most, hasn't he?
No, it's
That's
three
what I
clubs
think.
as well. 3 different clubs as well.
Yeah.
To say though. 3 different clubs. So, Liverpool are looking at a player who played tonight against who played against Rangers, an attacking player. Anybody know who it is?
I've got because I know who it is.
Yeah, Wardy played against Rangers tonight.
Is it? Actually, I don't really care about that at the moment. But I've just looked up the Ronaldo stat.
Go for it.
He's won it with Man United in 2008. Then Real,
Chelsea.
then Real 14, 16, 17, 18. So he has 5.
He has 5. Yeah, but he's only won it with 2 clubs.
2 clubs.
These lot have
5.
won it with, these won it with
5
yeah, I know. These guys have won it with 3 clubs.
Pretty impressive, though.
No, that is definitely that is.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely very
Well,
impressive.
what about the Chelsea? It was a Chelsea one, wasn't it? The penalty shootout.
Yeah,
On Terry
that's
slip.
right.
Right. Look at that.
Lovely. Yeah, so you've been looking at Mr. Nkulu. Let's talk about him coming to Liverpool from RB Leipzig.
No, we've got to stop buying from that club now. We've
It's
got to stop buying from that club now.
It's a feeder club, man.
From them
We got to deal with him.
It's like it used to be when we used to keep giving Southampton money as well. I think the thing is, so what is he? He's 24. He can play anywhere along the top, striker, left forward. He can play in the cam, right forward. Personally, right age bracket that we're looking for about 24. I'm gonna be a bit selfish here. We've got Fabio Carvalho coming in next season, and I just want him to be able to get game time.
Yeah.
We got Carvalho on. I think we probably had to pay probably a little fee to Fulham. If we're looking to get Nkunku, we're looking at probably about 66 mil. Let's just save that money for the moment. So I don't think we need any more offensive players up that top end at the moment.
I think Carvalho's only cost about 8 mil at the minute.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
With add-ons, and I said this the other night. If you saw his goal against Luton on Monday,
Serious.
the way he took it and finished it, it was ridiculous. For his age, you know, he fits into that front three.
Perfect.
But the thing that if we're looking at this other lad from Leipzig, what does that tell you about Salah on the contract?
Yeah.
I think it's probably a good thing as well, Lee. Salah, obviously, exceptional player. But I think for me, and I've said it on previous shows as well, players probably are at clubs for different projects. And maybe for Salah, the project that he's come in on, he's fulfilled that. And if he moves on, I believe he'll move on with everybody from Liverpool's blessings.
Yeah.
He's still going to be held in high regard. But at some stage, players, regardless of how wonderful they are, they move on.
True.
So, don't want him to go anywhere, but I don't want our club to be held to ransom. And if it means he moves on and then we have other players that can come to be part of a new project and a new transition for us, then I think we have to trust Klopp and embrace that.
Oh, 100%. You have to trust Klopp. If you look at his signings that he's paid, I'd have to trust him. So Mr. B's saying now that Nkunku is going to be going Man United.
Must be Man United on FIFA.
Europa Conference League, then that's fine, man.
Yeah.
Career mode.
Ambition.
Football Manager 22-23. That's the only chance he's got to go in there then.
Right. Next, we're talking about Liverpool also being interested in a defender, David Raum for Hoffenheim. 24-year-old. He only signed for Hoffenheim last summer on a free transfer. Left back already has 3 goals and 13 assists for a left back, and Hoffenheim could be willing to do business for around 25 million.
Would that stop the growth and development of Tsimikas? Because did you say he's a left back?
Yeah,
I think that would probably be the end of Tsimikas, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah. Tsimikas hasn't done too bad for us.
Oh, yeah, he's done all right. I've been impressed when he's coming.
He's not Andy Robertson, though.
Nah, of course not. Well, come on, nobody is.
But that's the thing. Ability levels. You look at the difference on what plays every week for us and what comes in reserve for us. There is. I think there's a bit of a gap there, definitely.
Mark is saying he wants Anthony from Ajax, the right winger, help Salah fight for his place. I think United and Chelsea are looking at him as well. Same style as Diaz, and he's rated at about 35 million. To be honest, if we're getting Carvalho and he's not going to go out on loan, we can't really look into getting people like Anthony as well. It's going to be too much.
Yeah, I don't want us to be. We don't need to stockpile that. And the thing with that interesting thing with that, Mark, and I don't really know much about the player, so I'm definitely going to question your judgment on that, Mark. I'll probably look at 2 things. That Anthony's probably going to stay at Ajax. One, because Chelsea ain't got no money. And Man United, I don't think anyone's going to that club. So I think he'll do a wrong one, leaving and coming to either of those 2 teams.
Hey, Mr. B, if you want, you can have Oxlade-Chamberlain, you know.
It's true. Make him your captain.
People were talking about 12 million. We'll give you him for 10. How's that?
Exactly.
Yeah, when you get rid of Pogba, you can have him for 10. There you
Can
go.
I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Who's like obviously what's going on with Chelsea? There might be a fire sale. Can I ask you 3 guys, if you could choose one player from Chelsea to come to Liverpool, who would it be and why?
I know.
There's going to be a fire sale there.
I would take Mason Mount.
Good shout.
I'll take Mason Mount.
Good shout.
That would be my call.
I can't think of nobody else I would take. The only other person I would take he's with Hazard, but we've already got a great right back, so.
Wouldn't you take Kante?
The only reason I'd say no against Kante, wonderful player. I'm just looking at the transition that we're doing in terms of the age that we're trying to rebuild for the new squad that we've got, and I think Kante is out of that bracket. For me, I see Mason Mount being able to play in a series of offensive players, and I just think if there was, then Mason Mount would be for me, definitely Mason Mount. Pulisic, I can see Mark Foster's put that. Pulisic is not happy at Chelsea, but I don't think he'd be able to fit in with how we play.
That's another one again, another one going in the forward position, one of the front 3 positions where it's not really needed, to be honest.
Yeah, Mason Mount can play as either of the number 8s. But Lee and Con and RT, who are your thoughts from Chelsea?
No, I think I would. That's what I would have. I'd have Mount. The Mount or Reece.
I'm not sure about Mount and how we play. That's the only thing. I'm not sure actually how good he is yet in terms of what he can actually. He's obviously creative. He can score a few goals. What does he actually give you within a side like Liverpool? I don't know where he's. You can look at players and you say he plays there. Where is his actual position? Because for England, he kind of plays a bit differently, and I'm still a bit unsure with him.
I think he can play
to our team now with the players that we got. I think we'd have to have. You have Fabinho, you'd have Thiago, and then for me, you'd have to have Mount playing as the one who gets further forward.
The one in front.
He has that ability to
run
on the front foot and score goals.
Link things up.
That's the only place he would have to be for me.
Yeah,
because we don't
play
like that now, though, do we? At times, sometimes we've just got the one there, but at other times he'll play the 2 there. So he doesn't. To fit Mason in weekly, you have to play with the 2 and 1 in front every week.
Yeah,
because if you think of it with that, we don't. And I think when I'm thinking of the profile when we bought Navigator based on when he was with Leipzig,
yeah,
I don't think that we've got a player that plays in midfield that can break the lines. So we've got Thiago can actually do it with the passing XYZ. But in terms of running, breaking the lines, the last midfielder that I think that we had, and correct me, was probably Coutinho. But whereas I see Mason Mount being able to do that, and that's why I was thinking in my head Mason Mount.
So then I will answer Con now, and this is what I would say. I would say two, and one of them you'll probably be surprised with.
Cool.
Okay, I would probably say either Conte because of what a great player he is, and he doesn't have to play 38 games a year for us. He can be experienced, he can be the knowledge, the nous on how to win. He breaks up play probably. He's probably in the top. He's got to be in the top 3 or 2 of players to break up play, box to box work. You know, he's an outstanding player, and I still think he's got quite a lot to offer. But I would also consider Reece James.
Of course.
Just purely because I think that Trent can play in other positions, and I think that he could be, with his passing range, he could play. I believe he could play. Maybe not necessarily now in the next few years, but he could play a deep line midfielder. Just like what Mickey Hazard used to do, get the ball, look for a pass, like Glenn Hoddle used to do, just pick out people, you know, for fun, just sitting there in the little hole, finding the spaces, working around the pitch, picking the ball up and hitting players with a pass.
What?
Just saying as well, Stoney, in terms of breaking the lines players, we spoke the other night, Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
This is the guy we want. He's the one.
He's the one. We should go all out. Don't talk about anyone else.
Nah.
Get Jude Bellingham.
He is.
Yeah.
That's why they're asking for his. That's why they're asking for his Rolex back.
Yeah. Look. Listen.
Made in China.
It's a Rolex.
Mark Foster said, "I would definitely take Rice from West Ham."
No, thank you.
Is that a bowl of rice?
Chicken fried rice.
Hanukkah rice.
Yeah.
Special fried rice.
Or rice. Which one? Because not for me. Not for me.
He's a good player, but he would cost so much money. And as Lee was saying, for the money that West Ham would be demanding, I believe we can go and get Jude Bellingham, and for me that would be the icing on the cake for much cheaper.
100%. This is what we really want. But do you think that we're going to try and make a serious bid for him?
Yes, I do.
Jude Bellingham?
No, I don't, because what normally happens in that, behind the scenes, Liverpool will probably, when they go on an England game, get one of the, like Trent or one of the Liverpool players to say, would you come to Liverpool first? So would he come? That's the thing, though. Would he come?
Of course
He's
he
not
would.
going to make a bid. Do you reckon he would?
Where would you stay at Dortmund when you got a chance to come to Liverpool?
I think
Man City might just steal the show, really.
I think so.
I'll tell you what, if we do the quadruple, mate, he'll be coming to Liverpool, not Man City. I'll tell you that much. Definitely. But yeah, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't come to Liverpool. No reason. Come and play for a manager like Klopp. No reason why he wouldn't come to Liverpool, man. Serious. You look at that team and think to himself, yeah, I could have a bit of that. Definitely have a bit of that. Gentlemen, it's been a blast. But just before we go quickly, youngsters involved, as we do. Something which has become regular at Liverpool training sessions is Klopp bringing in talent from the academy to work with the senior players. The latest session has seen 2 youngsters brought into the fold to train with the first team. Young striker Oakley Canna took part in the training session as he soaked up his surroundings. The talented 17-year-old has been in fine form for the club's under-18s this term, scoring a mammoth 41 goals across all competitions. And also, another youngster involved in the session was defender Luke Chambers. 17-year-old left back has also been a key figure for the under-18s and is impressing right up in the academy at Kirkby. So things are looking bright for us when it comes to youngsters coming in.
Good.
And also our under-23s, gents. They did win their version of the FA Cup as well. So it's looking bright down there, gents. It's looking bright. So we are going to say thank you, everyone, for being on board. Don't forget to press that like, subscribe, and share. Going to say good night and God bless, Mr. Wardy.
Thank you. Been a pleasure.
Mr. Tintin Quiff. Good night, Con.
Good night. Good night.
Nice one, my brother. And Stoney, as always.
Good night.
Last. And
Thank
we will
you.
definitely be back 100% next Thursday. It's all about Thursdays, 10 o'clock. Put it in your diary, people. Don't forget.